Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be drawing an eye, this eye. So let's get right to it. You're going to need a few things. You're going to need your medium-sized brush, your gel pen for highlights, your smaller brush for blending, your mono zero eraser, your charcoal pencil, and your outlining pencil, which is going to be an HB. You're also going to need a kneadable eraser and charcoal powder, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, first you start by drawing a line horizontally and a shorter one vertically. So you draw a circle right through the center, as you can see, and then you mark where you want the eye to start and where you want it to stop. The measurement from where it starts is usually 2 times from the center of where it stops. Then you draw a curved line on top and one on the bottom. Moving forward, you redefine the iris and the pupil. Then you draw the eye bags, the one on top and the one on the bottom. Then for the eyebrows, you just extend your lines from the tip and the end upwards. You draw a straight line across, then you draw one line going upward and one going downward. This will indicate the arch of the eyebrow. Once you've done the outline using your light pencil, you redefine your sketch, make it more prominent, adjust whatever you need to adjust before you start shading. So to draw the iris, you just go over the outline of the iris lightly with your charcoal pencil, then you color in the pupil and then draw these little black lines extending from the pupil into the iris, and then you do the same thing from the iris extending into the pupil. And once you're done with that, going over it once, once you're done with that, you shade with your small brush. So once you've shaded everything, you go over with your charcoal pencil again, you redefine the outline of your iris, redo the lines, same way you did the first time. And then you're going to want to draw these tiny lines that extend all the way from the iris, from the pupil to the iris and back all the way through, and then you want to shade everything. You see that once you've done that, it begins to come alive. So once you're done with shading, you go with your mono zero eraser and you draw lines that extend on the center between the iris and the pupil. So you just go over everything, with it. Once you're done with that, you just use your brush to extend the blending from the iris to the top of the eye and the bottom of the eye, just to give it some definition in terms of shading. And then you want to clean the iris a bit in case there's any spew outs. Now once that's done, you go over with your charcoal pencil and lightly outline the tip of your eyelid, and then you shade that in. Now this is where your kneadable eraser comes in. If you don't have that, you could always use a normal eraser or your mono zero. Just be careful with it. What it does is that it lifts the shading from the paper wherever there's too much. So I accidentally put too much in that area, that's why I used to remove it. So now the area under the eyelid, you want to use your brush, dip it in some of your charcoal powder and shade the area under the eyelid and make it darker because of the light and shadow. Now once you're done with all that, it should look like this. Now you're going to go in again with your mono zero eraser and lift some of the shading from the part closest to the eyelid. Doesn't go up, just on the center part there. Redefine the line on the bottom and redefine the eyelid. Now, instead of keeping your shading on the eyelid itself, you want to extend your shading to the flap on the eyelid. So now you're going to want to use your HB pencil to draw veins on your eye, on both sides, left and right. This little detail, it's a game changer. Trust me, you want to do this. Then you go over with your charcoal pencil on the eyelid flap lightly and then shade it in. Now, using charcoal powder, you want to shade from the flap, the line of the flap, downwards or upwards, whichever way you want to go. But I prefer downwards so that you don't mess with the shades upward when you want to start shading. Then you redefine the line, shade again. Now, using your medium-sized brush, you want to extend the shading from the flap upwards. And the part that's closest to the nose, that is usually closest to the nose, is going to be darker because, well, it's closer to the nose. Light doesn't touch there as much. For the cornea, you're going to use your outlining pencil, which is your HB pencil, and make the corner of the eye much darker than the rest. Outline, shade, and then use your Mono-Zero eraser to create a very small highlight once you're done shading and blending. Now, still using your Mono-Zero eraser, you will clean up the bottom part of the eyelid. The first line is where the eye ends, and the second line is where the eyelashes start from. So you want to make that distinction very clear, but they should be close together. Still on your Mono-Zero eraser, on the eyelid on top, you just use it to create these small white dots all over to simulate skin texture. And then you shade the part that is closest to the nose more, and then you shade the other parts less. And then you go over that portion with your HB pencil and create these uniform strokes, which also helps to simulate the skin. You reshade and then use your Mono-Zero eraser to re-impute some of the details if necessary. So you keep using your brush and charcoal powder to shade from the darkest to the lightest. Now go in with your HB pencil again and do the same thing you did on the eyelid. Detail. Basically just straight hatching lines all through, following in that same motion. Usually, eyebrows follow this direction from the tip, curving, and the more it goes, the more it curves. So you want to outline that with your HB pencil so that when you go over it with your charcoal pencil, you don't make that many mistakes. And now you go over with your charcoal pencil and do the same thing lightly, just once first. Then you use your medium-sized brush to shade. And once you've shaded, you can go over the process again. Do the same thing, shade, go over it, shade, until you are satisfied with your results. And now you want to take your Mono-Zero eraser and create those same small highlights you did on the flap, on the eye bag. And now you take your HB pencil and put a line under each and every one of those lines that you created with your Mono 0 eraser. Trust me, it's tedious, but it's going to be worth it. And this is the motion that most eyelashes take. From the center, they usually divide going left and then right. So use your charcoal pencil to go in that motion from the base to the tip. If you need to, you can always use your HB pencil to do that first, and then once you're sure of what you're doing, you can use your charcoal pencil to continue. Once you've done the main ones, you can then fill in the remaining spaces. It's usually advisable to do it like this: two hairs together, and then and so on, and spread it across to make it look more natural. And then use your small brush to shade the base of the eyelashes. Now coming to the bottom lashes, it's the same thing but more uniform. Two, give it a specific amount of space, then two again, and then again and again. You could always draw small lines, small lashes in between each one, just to give it that human feel. And you shade the eye bag under. Use your Mono 0 to detail, just like we did in the previous parts. Go over your lashes again, and then once you're done, just shade the tip of the lashes just like you did for the one on top. And once you're done, you could go over it with your gel pen and then make details. The details are basically the white highlights, the white highlights that come from light hitting your eyes. And then when you're done with that, it should look like the picture we first saw at the beginning of the video. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you come back for more tutorials.